Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Andrea Giraldo. Welcome to Meetings of the Minds, brought to you by the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in partnership with BronxNet. This show was created in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to highlight the work of our members and partners, as well as to understand the resources they have to help our community in those difficult times. Our guest today has an extensive background in the entertainment industry that combines finance, developing, and producing film, television, animation, and much more. He joins us today to shine light on his memoir picture book series, Dream Chaser, and much more. Please help me give a warm welcome to Mr. Ralph Rivera-Viruet. Sorry. Hi, Ralph. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll begin just learning a little bit more about your background and how you got started in the entertainment industry.
Okay, well, when I finished college, I went to work for a major accounting firm called Price Waterhouse. And I was able to get some wonderful assignments, and it was geared in the entertainment business. So I decided after 3 years that I didn't want to count any more numbers. And I was offered an opportunity to go become the controller of a small company. It was called Ashley Famous Agency. They controlled major stars, and they had revenues of about, I would say, about $5 million.
Here in the New York area?
In New York City, yeah, in New York City, yeah. The company then, we started merging with different companies and putting together the company, and we put together a company called ICM, International Creative Management. Mm-hmm. And I was there for 10 years, and we were able to increase the revenues from 5 million to 500 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so that put me in a whole different perspective for people who were looking to do things. And I got many offers to join different companies, and I decided that I would go to Hollywood and learn the film production business. And I went to work with a very famous person at that time who was the president of ABC Television, Martin Starger. Marty Starger was the president of Marble Arch Productions, which is a British company owned by British lords. Mm-hmm. And my first assignment there was to put together the financing on a movie called On Golden Pond.
Of course.
With Henry Fonda.
Very famous.
We won 5 Academy Awards. And that propelled me into the next film, which we did, was called Sophie's Choice, which is another major movie with a lot of awards also. And so I was flying high.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. And so from there, I went ahead and decided that I wanted to do other things. I wanted to do my own productions. So I joined a company that was owned by actually controlled by Stan Lee from the Marvel Comics era. Yeah. And I worked with Stan Lee for about 6 years doing the animation of different of his characters, including Spider-Man, Iron Man, Fantastic Four. We also did animation like The Last Unicorn. So I learned a lot about animation, how it was we took it overseas to do the animation all by hand. Yeah. There was no computerization at that time, so it was all hand-celled. And I was able to produce the dialogue tracks that we merged the visual with the voices. And that was a fantastic experience. Unfortunately, in 1994, there was a major earthquake. My house went down. And I was devastated.
Not this point, you're in California.
You're in California, exactly, yes. And I was devastated. And I was offered to go to Puerto Rico and set up a film commission there. At the same time, the government gave me the opportunity to produce projects there, and that's where I produced the history of salsa music with the Fania All Stars,
Yeah.
with Larry Harlow. We called it El Judío Maravilloso.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, produced and wrote the history, the 500-year history of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Then after that, I decided to come back to New York, and that's where I was asked by Hunter College at that time to do the history of the empowerment of Latinos in New York State from the 1920s.
So this is what got you started with all this documentation
Yes.
of Hispanic culture in music, in film, and politics.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I was in Hollywood, I was very lost there.
Uh-huh.
Because as a Puerto Rican from the South Bronx, you know, it was normally a Mexican community.
Yeah, I could
and,
imagine.
yeah.
Very challenging.
Very few. What I did was I decided to go and walk Hollywood Boulevard. And if you walk Hollywood Boulevard, there's a lot of memorabilia stores in the alleyways. We call it in Spanish los callejones.
Uh-huh.
And at these memorabilia stores, I would walk in and there was always an area with a sign that said, Latinos in Hollywood. I got interested in that. So I started buying photos of the early days, fan magazines, and I started to collect all this stuff. And then I met a wonderful, wonderful actor from the Dominican Republic named Rafael Campos, who was a major star at that time in a film called The Blackboard Jungle with Sidney Poitier, him, and
Oh my God.
it was
Yes.
yeah. And Rafael was a writer also, and he happened to be writing something about Latinos. So we got together, we started writing together. However, in 1985, Rafael had an accident and he passed away. And I kept researching and writing, and after 25 years,
So we have this wonderful
book-
book today.
yes, and the book is called
If you could just share more details
Yes.
on
Now,
that.
if you see the
this.
book, it's like a bar in the desert.
Yeah.
Now, what happened is that Hollywood is a fantasy.
Uh-huh.
So I put this bar in in the desert. I call it the Hollywood Bar, and in the window, I have Se habla español.
Ah.
You see the window out
Yes,
there? Se habla
right here.
español.
And
Yeah.
then we have Hispanics in Hollywood films. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And that the book was then became a award-winning book at the Los Angeles Latino International Book Fair. And the book became so popular that it's being acquired by major colleges and universities for reference, for research. And it's a wonderful gift book because it's got
It's also a beautiful coffee table book.
yeah, it is a coffee table book.
Yes.
And if you notice,
I mean, aside from
it
reference
starts,
for college
it starts
students.
in
Let me
the
just
silent
hold it
era.
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes all the way to the modern era. Okay, and it's like there's 6 essays in there.
So what decades are you covering in this book?
I go from 1908
Uh-huh.
to 2008, 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the essays is called the Hispanic Hollywood Hall of Fame, where I make, when I was walking in Hollywood, Hollywood Boulevard, you walk down and you see the stars of different
Yeah.
people. So I decided to do my own here, my own Hollywood book. Yes. And here they are over
So
here.
this is your Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love it. Wonderful.
You see?
Let me just put it up so our viewers can take a look.
Yeah. There's
So the premise
Hispanic
is
Hollywood Hall of Fame.
Exactly. The
Which-
Hispanic Hollywood.
Yeah.
Actors here.
So I went there, and I gathered a lot of the stars, but then I added additional stars that were not in Hollywood, and I put them in the book.
So how many artists in total do you think you've covered here?
About 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big number.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to
25 years.
compile this?
25
Wow.
years. What happened, and the reason it took so long is because I met this wonderful friend. His name is Ricardo Montalban.
Yes, of course.
The plane, do you
Yes.
remember that? Okay, so Ricardo was such a wonderful man. But what happens, Latinos, they tend to, when I would interview them, they tend to take stories and make them a little bit more different. So what I would do is, when I would hear the stories, I would go to Ricardo and say, Ricardo, he said this and this and this about this one. He would say yes, or he would say no. This is the way it was down. So the book, the introduction is done.
The forward.
The
Oh,
the
by
preface
him.
done by
Okay.
Ricardo Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban.
Before he passed away,
For those that do not
did
know,
it.
this is Fantasy Island Master right here.
Yeah, he was a wonderful, wonderful human being, and he taught me so much about Hollywood. It was just wonderful, and that's why the book became so famous. You know, yeah.
Wonderful. Now, in compiling the book and getting it printed, what lessons did you learn along the way? Because 25 years to make a book is, a good chunk of your career as well. So what can you share during your time?
Well, when you write something like this, and it's based on actual fact and it's research, you have to sit down and read it many, many times, because writing is rewriting.
Yes.
Okay, so I learned so many things, but then I said to myself, I need someone else to help me, because I need a designer to design the book. I need someone who knows about writing books of this nature. And I met this young man, Max Resto, in Puerto Rico when I was shooting the history of San Juan. And then I said, Max, I want you to join me on this project. I'll give you, writing credit, co-writing credit, but you design it, and you're able to then give me insight. So he did that.
So would you consider him your mentor for the book?
No, no. My mentor for the book was more like Ricardo Montalban.
Okay.
Yeah, he was more someone who was very creative. He's a good writer. He used to write for the San Juan Star in Puerto Rico. He was head of the entertainment division, so he knew a lot about the film industry.
Yeah.
So it was perfect, combination.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So now I think we can go on to your next books. You have two books here, Dream
Let me tell
Chaser.
you, yeah.
So please, which one are we looking at
Well,
first?
why don't you, let me give you a little history about it, okay?
Please.
I've been involved in so many different situations, earthquakes, fires, hurricanes, working with famous people, and
A-listers,
exactly.
of course.
So I was told by a lot of friends of mine, you should write your memoirs, you should write. So I decided, okay. So I decided to begin writing your memoirs. And I started because I had a friend at Amazon, and they came out with something called Kindle at that time. So I said to him, hey, how come you don't have no Latinos, in your Kindle library? He says, well, why don't you do it? So I says, okay. So I decided that I would write about my history. So I went back to the 1800s. And the reason I was able to do that was when I was in college, when I was a senior, I was asked to do a paper on the history of my family. Luckily,
So you trace them back that long?
luckily my grandfather was alive. He was 103 years old. So he was able to take me back to the 1800s, and I was able to get the lineage from where we came from, in northern France. Actually, there's Jewish, there's French, there's Spanish, all sorts of. I wrote my first Dream Chaser book. I wrote it for the Amazon Kindle, and it's called Dream Chaser: The Early Years From there, I started saying, well, I'm going to write about my growing up in the South Bronx. So my second Kindle book is called Dream Chaser, Growing Up in the South Bronx. Okay? Then some friends of mine then tell me, well, you know, I like to grab a book and I like to hold it, you know, and so I says, okay. So I then
Flip
started.
pages.
I started. My third Dream Chaser was my experience in Hollywood and in the entertainment business in the decade of the 1970s. For example, in the 1970s, in 1976, I believe it was, I met a gentleman, a great actor, wonderful actor. His name, Steve McQueen.
Oh, of course.
But when I met Steve McQueen, when he didn't look like Steve McQueen. He looked like some other.
In the early days, or?
Well, let me show you how I met him.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. This is how I met Steve McQueen. He was doing a movie.
Let's just show our viewers here. Right here?
That's Steve McQueen as I knew him.
Yes, as we all knew him.
As we all
up
knew
here
him.
on a bike,
And this is when I met him.
right here.
So I.
Day and night, of
Day and
course.
night. So I met Steve McQueen like that, but the chairman of the board says, look, he's doing a movie, he's in disguise, you know, etc. So I spent the summer of 1976 buying the car from Bullitt, or a similar car from the movie Bullitt that he had done, because the studio refused to sell him the car. So he decided he would go out and get one. So the chairman of the board of ICM says to me, I know you could do this. So I would go during the week with Steve McQueen through Connecticut, through New Jersey, go to these farms where they had these old cars, etc. And we find in New Jersey, found the car. Steve had $10,000 in cash. The farmer wanted $8,000. So he goes out, here's your $8,000. We go to the motor vehicle bureau in New Jersey, and he gets his car, gets in the car, drops me off, and never saw him again.
Well, it's a great story,
Yes, it is.
right?
So it's my exploits, you know, and
Yeah.
all the crazy mergers and acquisitions that I was involved in happening in the 1970s.
Excellent, excellent. Now we have this one.
Now the
Numbers is everything.
Okay, the new one, the final one, it's fourth book. It's called Dream Chaser, Numbers is Everything. And I know it's grammatically wrong because numbers are everything, but I had an experience when I was a young man. My mom had a restaurant, and we had three boys, myself and two brothers. And we would cook, we would pick up the dishes, we would clean, we would help. My mom was a single parent, so we helped her. But when she went out, we took care of the restaurant. Now, so she says to me, Rafael, I know you're good with numbers. I want you to keep 2 sets of books. I says, Ma, what do you mean 2 sets of books? She says, one for them and one for us. Okay.
That's lovely.
And she says, and remember one thing. Numbers is everything.
Aww,
And so I dedicate a new one
to her.
to her. Numbers is everything.
Wonderful.
And it's my exploits starting in the 1960s until today.
Yeah, and we have here some recognition that the book has received, of course.
The book just was named this past year in 2024 the best biography by the National Association of Book Entrepreneurs. And basically, it's
the
just
Pinnacle book
yes
as well.
Yeah, so I'm very, very proud of it, and I'm very proud of
And where can people find this one?
on my website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
I will sign it and send it out and dedicate it to the person who purchases it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And where can they purchase it?
It's called Terramax, TERRAMAX.ENT.com.
Wonderful.
You
I
can get
love it. And you'll send out a signed copy.
And then
That's perfect.
I'll sign it and mail it to each individual person the way they want it.
Yeah. So I usually like to ask people when they come on the show, for youth that are aspiring to get into a career such as yours, right, from the film industry side, or even finance to that matter, what would you recommend they do as very important steps to preparing themselves to make a career in that industry?
Okay. When I was in college in the early 60s, I became very much involved in the community. And I became a congressional liaison for a congressman named James Scheuer and a state senator named Robert Garcia. And it's all in this book. And one of the things that my mom said to me is that, she said, Rafael, if you want to get out of poverty, you need to have an education. You need to go out there and encourage these young people to get an education, a higher education. So I became a rebel rouser together with some other very well-known people, and we established Hostos Community College in the South Bronx. Today, I am on the board of directors of that college, okay? And my passion is to educate our young people to go to school, get an education. You don't have to go to finance or this or that. It's whatever your passion calls you on. My passion was to learn about numbers, excuse me, and to share that what I learned with others.
Yeah.
And share and give that. I mentor a lot of young kids these days.
Very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Much
So,
needed, I would say, with today's
Yeah.
youth, having a mentor.
So you
that
need
can,
these young people have to find a mentor, and they will get help, and they will get to where they want to go.
Now, would you say it's the same advice or learning process for film industry and also creative side?
Yes, because in the film industry, you need, for example, there's a person who's very important in film and in television. It's called a gaffer.
Yes.
You know what he does?
Runs around.
Runs around
Runs
with
around.
the electrical,
Yes.
the machine, the electricity is.
I'm surprised I even know what that is.
But most people don't know.
Yeah.
So learn the lingo. You want to go into a profession, learn the lingo. You want to go into marketing, learn the lingo. Public relations, learn the lingo. And then once you learn what these people do, then you can say to yourself, okay, I want to do that. Or you don't want to do that. Or you want to go in another direction. You see? But learn what they do so that then you have a feel of what you want to go after with that passion.
Excellent. And what about lessons learned from writing these books, the Dream Chaser collection? What can you
Wow.
share on that?
Wow, lessons
Because
learned.
this is touching on your personal side,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I learned that you need to have a lot of passion to write. You also must understand that writing is always rewriting. So when you write something, you read it, you keep reading it, and you keep changing it. That's why it's called writing is rewriting. So as a writer, you learn about yourself, you learn about what direction you want to take someone into. Excuse me.
So for someone who's looking to start to write a book, regardless, fiction, biography, what are the steps?
Reading.
Reading.
Read. If you want to write about adventures, read books on adventures. If you want to write about biographies, read about biographies. In other words, read, read, read. If you read, then you could put that into your mind, and then you can start writing yourself.
Interesting. I like that. And education plus a mentor. Don't forget, people.
Very important.
Very important. For anything that you do, a mentor can actually even save you time, right?
Oh, yeah.
With figuring
Whoa.
out things.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yes.
Did
yes.
that impact in any way your life, having mentors? Was
Of
that
course,
available?
of course. I mean, I've had some wonderful mentors in my career. Wonderful. In the film industry, in television, in as a writer, for example, I read Ernest Hemingway. Why? Because he wrote about his adventures. I want to write about my adventures. So you read someone who...
So you can
yeah,
understand.
The Old Men in the Sea is one of my
Yes.
favorite books.
Yes.
Okay? So you pick writers that you can relate to, and you read their work.
Wonderful. This has been so refreshing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me,
Such an
Andrea.
interesting life, so many topics. I just want to make sure that our audience has noted the website where they can obtain this, Terramax
ENT.
Entertainment. So that would be the website, terramaxent.com. Once again, to learn more about Ralph and to support his books, you have to visit Terra, 2 R's, Max with an X, ENT.com. You can also email him at rrterramax@optonline.net. Okay? You can follow him on his Instagram at rrterramax and on Facebook at terramaxent as well. So unfortunately, that is all the time we have today. We could have talked for hours here. So interesting,
so
much
much, Andrea.
history, and from our own culture, which is amazing to understand and learn that Hispanics have been setting a mark out in Hollywood, the big screen, the little screen, entertainment. Thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in and checking us out. Keep following BronxNet TV for continued coverage. If you are not a member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, you can visit us at hispanicchamber.nyc. Once again, that's hispanicchamber.nyc. You can also engage with us on LinkedIn at New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, all spelled out. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Meetings on the Mind in partnership with BronxNet. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.